Right now, Georgia lawmakers are debating a bill that would pause the growth of data centers in our state.
A report from the University of Georgia found that our state had about 63 active data centers. The majority are located in the metro, in Fulton, Douglas, Fayette, Walton, and Cobb counties. And these centers act as a physical backbone for the internet, storing a vast amount of data using a lot of energy.
Atlanta News First reporter Abby Kasouras is live for us outside at the Capitol right now, where this debate is playing out. Hey, Abby.
Well, this issue has packed public meetings across the state, and now it's landed squarely here at the state capitol. Lawmakers split on whether the data center growth should continue.
A large-scale data center.
From metro Atlanta to rural Georgia, data center proposals are spreading, and so is the pushback.
Nay, nay, nay. The people say nay.
Supporters say these massive facilities are already reshaping Georgia's economy. A report from the Carl Vinson Institute of Government shows data centers created more than 28,000 construction jobs and 5,000 permanent jobs, pumping billions of dollars into the state.
Honestly, one of the cleanest, greenest, quietest data center regulations in the country.
Georgia's growth is different and faster than anywhere else. According to the investment firm CBRE, Metro Atlanta led the nation in data center expansion last year, surpassing Northern Virginia. And state utility regulators have approved plans to add roughly 10,000 megawatts of new power, largely to meet future data center demand.
Before we start,
Democrat State Representative Rua Roman says the pace is exactly the problem. She's dropping a bill that would pause new data centers through 2027. She says she recruited Republican co-sponsors.
This is permanent. This is a permanent change, and if we get it wrong, Georgians will have to deal with the consequences for decades to come.
The bill would likely need to make it through Republican Representative Brad Thomas's committee, and he feels a statewide moratorium goes too far. It could choke Georgia's economic growth. He points to communities like Covington, where data center revenue could eventually replace property taxes.
I think local communities should make that decision of what works.
With more and more proposed projects and communities demanding answers, we expect that this issue will not go away. Thomas and others say that they will present bills later on in the session regarding data centers. Live at the state capitol, Abby Kasouras, Atlanta News First.